Hey everyone, my name is Brianne Coolidge, and I just want to share a little bit about our Plexus testimony with you. I was a complete skeptic at the beginning of this. I did not think that Plexus was something that we needed. I went to the health food store all the time. I was already on probiotics and multivitamins. I've deemed myself that I was probably the probiotic snob because I thought that I knew everything that I needed to know, and yet we were still in a really bad spot. But looking back on it, I didn't think that we were. I just chose to live with those symptoms because I thought that that's the way that life was going to be for us. And that's not the way that it needs to be. And I know that now. So I've become so passionate about these products, about sharing them, and about stepping outside of my comfort zone because it's not always easy, but it is always worth it because I found that every single time that we do, every time that we share our hearts and we let other people know about the struggles that we were silently going through, that they feel empowered too. So when my daughter was about 11 months old, I was a school teacher at the time. I woke up and my knee was really swollen. I didn't have sub plans ready, so I just decided that I needed to go to work. And when I got there, our sports med trainer came in and he took one look at me and said, "You need to go to the emergency room." And so I did. I left school, I went to the emergency room. They started running all sorts of tests on me. They weren't sure what was going on. They thought maybe it was a blood clot. They thought maybe it was a couple of different disorders. But they just kind of basically let me go at the end of the day, withdrawing the fluid out of my knee, and they were going to send it in for testing. So they did. 2 days before Christmas, I found out that my ANA had come back positive and that they were diagnosing me with my first disease. And so when they did that, I was really taken back. They diagnosed me with one where my joints would swell to the point where I would have to go in. I was going in about every 2 weeks and having them drained because I no longer could carry my daughter up and down the steps. We were crawling together. I was extremely fatigued in the morning and my joints would just ache and ache until I got into the shower and got them warm. But everything became a struggle for me. But that kind of took a back seat when my daughter was 14 months old. I got a phone call. I was still a teacher at the time. I got a phone call from my mom and said that something was wrong with Rye and I needed to get there really quickly. And I did. And when I got there, we had found out that she had ingested just a really small piece of a cashew and had gone into shock. Her eyes swelled shut, her ear canals were swollen shut, and we raced her to the emergency room. We spent about 6 hours. She had a couple of different shots to bring down the reaction, and I came home with a little girl that was unrecognizable. She was still really swollen, but I also came back home feeling really defeated. I did not know what this journey was going to be for us. Over the next 3 years, I had had 2 more kids. My daughter, my oldest Riley, had been diagnosed with a couple of different intolerances. Her food list was long of things that she couldn't have. We had eliminated gluten, we had eliminated dairy for the most part, and we live on a dairy farm, so that was really hard. We could not give her anything with tree nuts. That sent her into a really scary life situation. We had eliminated anything that was like processed sugars. We really tried to limit them, and we also really tried to limit her food coloring. We also couldn't give her anything that had eggs or egg substitutes in them because it would cause her skin to break out in rashes really quickly. When she was 4.5, we took her back to her pediatric doctor, and they ran more tests because we had to go back every year to have her blood work drawn. We went back when she was 4.5, and they told us that she had developed a carrot intolerance. The same time that all this was going on with her, I had been diagnosed with 2 more disorders. One where I could not eat any gluten because I would just react really bad, and another where I just had extreme fatigue. Again, I'd had 3 kids in 3.5 years. My body was really depleted. I was tired. My hormones were all over the place. But you just keep going. You just think that that's the way that life is going to be for you. And I did. And I thought that we ate really healthy. Food pretty much controlled everything for us. Everything that we knew about the grocery store was reading labels. And we did it. And we just lived with it. And we thought that that's the way that things were going to be. And so when I tell people about our story, I tell you this because we all have something. I didn't talk to a lot of people about it. I felt really ashamed at where we were, but I didn't want people to know. I just masked it. I acted like everything was fine. We talked a lot about the things that were going on with Riley just because we couldn't have people touch her if they had certain things around her. And so we talked about that, but I didn't talk about the things that I was going through. And looking back now, I'm so, so thankful that somebody reached out to me about Plexus, even though I was really skeptical and I was not very open about it. I didn't want anything to do with it. But these products are life-changing. They're so different. The ingredients matter. They are so important. And we started on them the first time. I was not consistent. I ended up quitting. I thought that it was the products, but it was me. I did not stay consistent. And so of course they weren't going to do anything for me. You know, I had spent 3 decades essentially destroying my body, and I could not expect something to work in a matter of a couple of weeks. And so they didn't, and I quit for 6 months. And thankfully, somebody reached out and I came back because these products have changed everything for us. I don't have any more symptoms. My daughter doesn't have any more outdoor symptoms. She can go outside and run around and play in the grass and not have the watery eyes or the runny nose or the sneezing and itching. Her skin is clear. She's eating her low intolerant foods again. There is a lot to be said about your gut health and your microbiome. So I really encourage you to look at the connection between whatever it is that you are going through and the connection with your microbiome and your gut health, because it is huge. I didn't want anything to do with sharing these products. I actually told someone to never message me about it because I was not going to start sharing. But that was a really selfish way for me to look at it. I had gotten my life back, and most importantly, I'd gotten my little girl back. And when I realized that I wasn't selling anything, I was sharing something that worked, I wanted everyone to know about this. And so we started. And now the opportunity with Plexus has changed everything for our family. To be able to have the freedoms to go and do the things that we want, not only because of our health, but now because of finances too, is the biggest blessing. So I really, really encourage you, whoever sent this video to you, if you're in a group and you're watching it, be open to this possibility if you have not been yet. If you are on this journey and you're not quite finding what works best for you, be open about that too. There's different ways to take the products. There's different ways to reach out to people. Be open about the things that this can do for you. But you have to talk to people about it. We all go through things every single day, and it does not have to be a secret. Maybe somebody's not going through the same exact things, but we all go through trials, and we all need the support of other people to help us get better. And this journey can be exactly that for you. If you ever need anything, I'm only an inbox away. Never hesitate to send me a message, but I really, really encourage you to get started, to stay consistent, and to reach out if you need help, because this journey and this One Plexus culture that we have is absolutely life-changing.